Hello, everybody. How you doing? This is Commander 401. I have a guest, a brainless Steel, and we're going to be talking about someone who is actually brainless, Dave Murphy. It's an older video, but a goodie.
Yeah.
Anything to say, brainless?
Yeah,
Introduce yourself.
I'm brainless. Um, I think we know each other mainly from Slim Living Cyborgs streams.
Awesome, and you should
but-
check him out.
Yeah, I'm kind of his sidekick, mainly starting his live streams for him. And yeah, no, that's basically kind of it. I'm from the Netherlands, but if people are wondering, and just I don't mind bashing a bit of flat earthers. And as I said to Commander already, I call him Pissy Dave because we all know what he loves to drink, right?
Oh, yeah, he drinks his own wares.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get started.
Okay.
Just getting used to this. Okay.
The Earth is absolutely flat. My name is Dave. I'm known as allegedly Dave. I'm 56 years old, and I know that the Earth is a flat, motionless plane.
Dave, I just have one question for you.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That is funny.
I think everyone, if you actually saw Dave in real life, you would basically go up to him, scream, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" and smack him in the face.
No, because that would be considered assault.
You'd feel like it.
Yeah.
Is the model is that there's a disc of water with continents strung out around the North Pole in the centre, and it's bordered on the circumference with what we call Antarctica. Yeah, it's literally the circumference of the Earth. It's again, if you imagine the North Pole in the centre, all the continents kind of strung out around the North Pole, and round the edge is what we call Antarctica. There's this thing called the Antarctica Treaty, which is a treaty by all the United Nations countries that have agreed that nobody is allowed to go there. You can go.
Actually, what the treaty entails is that basically you're allowed to go there. You're under the subject to the laws of the country that you're a citizen of or that your expedition is registered with. There's no nukes, no military outside of like you can bring military helicopters for logistical support. And no leaving your trash over there, no mining, just plain common sense stuff. You can go there.
Oh, definitely.
Take that from the penguin in the power armor.
Go there on a package tour, and you'll go to the kind of outer islands, you know, see some penguins, go and see a barbershop pole that's supposed to be the South Pole, which they'll tell you isn't the actual South Pole, and that's it. If you want to go any further or you want to go unaccompanied, you'll get turned back by the military. Well, I used to be a computer programmer, and I was so into.
You won't get turned back by the military because they're trying to hide something. That place is fucking dangerous.
Trying to
absolutely dangerous.
They're trying to protect you there.
You
Dumbass.
know, people like Dave they actually need to be protected from themselves. And he's about to talk about his journey into Dunning-Kruger.
Science that I mean, I would listen to science lectures, you know, while I was working. So I did a lot of research on Einstein's theory of relativity. I was listening to Richard Feynman lectures. I was into science. You know, I was just a normal bloke, just doing what everyone else does. But then you start seeing things that are wrong. And rather than just ignoring them, you know, thinking, oh, I must be stupid.
Oh, Dave, I've taken higher level math classes. And there is so much between what you think you know. When, like, I asked my professor, can you show me how to calculate a space curve? That is the distance of a curve in space. And he's like, I probably could, but that's all I could teach you. And basically said, you won't be able to I won't show you until you reach vector calculus. And that was like 3 semesters of having math away. And there's just so much that you don't know exists in between then and your destination.
I thought I'd actually look into them and see what I can find out about them. And once you do that, that's the turning point. Once you actually look, stop and look, put aside your preconceptions, then you find stuff. There's indoctrination right there. All these little kids looking at that, being told by their teacher they live here. This is indoctrination.
So much indoctrination.
Brainless, what do we call that? It's not indoctrination. There's a word. Is it edumacation?
It's something edgy. I like edumacation. Fuck you, Pissy Dave.
What can you expect from a man who drinks his own waz?
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's just continue.
Yeah, at an age where they can't critically interpret information.
Dave, you're almost 50 years old and you can't critically interpret information.
No, but like what he's basically saying is kids are stupid. Kids are not stupid. Like kids will figure shit out. That's just fact. Like, come on, man. Like there's so many kids that just can figure shit out by themselves as well, but like they do need to get the information. Like there is competitions for elementary school kids to build Lego robots in competitions. Like, how can you say that those kids cannot do any critical thinking?
And the goal of actually when you go to elementary school, like especially in the US, I don't know about the educational system in Europe. It's probably a little bit better, but we've spent a long time just teaching kids how to regurgitate facts without teaching them how to come to those conclusions.
Yeah.
And then when you
been a
hit
bit here as
college,
well.
they teach you how to come to they teach you how to find out exactly why things are the way they are.
Yeah, like I think over here STEM is getting into it quite a bit more. I think that is a really good thing.
And I remember taking the college chemistry and actually considering that well, in high school, they didn't have very good labs outside of what Mr. Foley taught us on the side, which was basically the anarchist cookbook. We were going to fight the Eichmanns. So he kept our interest. But as far as official school sanctioned labs, they weren't all that good.
Hmm.
Mr. Foley's labs were absolutely awesome, and no one would ever turn them in or they get beaten up.
Yeah, I don't know.
He taught us how to make bleach. Well, there's a byproduct of making Clorox that he was more interested in teaching us, but he taught us how to make bleach. It was an oxidizer.
Hmm. Yeah, never had like that much of chemistry in school. Like, I think you guys
But
do learn more of the science things, but like then again, I've also been to special education, so that might be slightly different. But yeah, like we don't have like the science fairs that you guys have for the schools. I'm like, that sucks because that
that's a
does.
shame.
Yeah, because that actually is the thing that I think is really good, pushing kids to look at that stuff and just try something, how simple even it is, doesn't matter that much. But now
I
here,
enjoyed learning through hands-on methods.
yeah, I think that's for most people that is the case. But yeah,
And we
so
have purple rhymes with orange. How you doing?
Hello. Oh, okay. Wishing I had
Remember
somebody up here
Dave
that was a
Murphy?
mechanic, but
what? Sorry?
I'm sorry, I can't drive all the way to Minnesota to help you with your car.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's that.
I
No.
almost turned into a conspiratard, and then I took a machining course, and then just being exposed to machining taught me, wait a minute, you might be able to play with some numbers, but you have no idea how things work. And it brought me actually back to reality as far as how things were done.
Well, good.
Oh, shit.
The continents kind of strung out around the North Pole. They're on a package tour. Well, I used to be a computer programmer, and I was so into science that I would listen to science lectures, while I was working. So I did a lot of research on Einstein's theory of relativity. I was listening to Richard Feynman lectures. I was into science. I was just a normal bloke, just doing what everyone else does. But then you start seeing things that are wrong. And rather than just ignoring them, thinking, oh, I must be stupid, I thought I'd actually look into them and see what I can find out about them. And once you do that, that's the turning point. Once you actually look, stop and look, put aside your preconceptions, then you find stuff. There's the indoctrination right there. All these little kids looking at that, being told by their teacher they live here. This is indoctrination. Yeah? At an age where they can't critically interpret information. This will form the basis of their reality. This is how easy it is.
Yeah, that's how easy it is. We live on a ball.
It really is.
Oh,
Even when NASA.
yeah. Now I'm depressed. I thought he was saying we could live in a science museum, and I was getting excited.
Oh, I wish I had some of the pictures that I took when I went down to Virginia. Guess where I spent my vacation? Museums.
Yep.
Hmm.
Well, I
what's
had
There's
when I lived in St. Paul, I had a membership to the Science Museum of Minnesota, and I spent so much time there that people thought I worked there, and especially in the paleontology department. that if visitors had questions the volunteers couldn't answer, they were referring them to me.
Hmm. Okay, that's
You know, paleontology is probably one of the few disciplines where you may be able to get into it with having a bachelor's or a master's degree. Because, well, I'm forgetting the name of the place out in the Dakotas that they have so many volunteers who are interested and they study under I'm trying to remember the name of the YouTube channel. This kid is awesome when it comes to paleontology. I will have to look it up and then post it on the community page. But you know,
Stuff out that looks like this. They forget that the clouds are supposed to move. In fact, you find in the clouds they show in their pictures, they use a clone tool to use the same picture of cloud and stamp it around the globe.
no. What happens is the Earth you have strings of satellites, usually satellites, you don't just get one. They're launched in like one coming every hour or so. You do have strings of satellites. In addition to that, the satellite orbits in roughly the same place around the Earth. I actually had an animation for this. I forgot to bring it. And the Earth rotates underneath it. And the average speed of clouds on Earth is about 25 miles per hour. And Purple, do you remember what the orbital speed? It's about 90 minutes per orbit. In
I
and
don't
around
remember the
there.
numbers at all. No,
I
no,
think the ISS orbits every 90 minutes. I
that
could be
sounds about
wrong.
right.
yeah, something like that.
But the ISS is going to come around. Your satellite's going to come around in 90 minutes. It's not going to be over the
93.
same place. I was close.
Yep.
It's not
yes,
going to be in the same place, but the
Mm,
the cloud is going to move about 25 miles. So if you superimpose one picture over the other, it's going to look like part of the cloud is covered by basically the same cloud.
yeah. Oh.
I got to do more prep for these because I actually did have an animation for that.
There's even the word sex written into the clouds somewhere, which is a known psychological trick to get you to engage with something.
You mean like procreate and produce more humans so that we have a population, right?
So we don't go extinct.
He's acting like sex is something that we're not supposed to do.
Well, I've seen the picture where they say sex is in the clouds and had a guy highlight it. And yeah, it's just a good shot of pareidolia. You know, it's there if you're looking for it to be there. It's not something that you would find if it's not on your mind.
Well,
Which
they've
gives
probably
an
been so
idea where Dave's mind is.
well, if you're like celibate, like you're depriving your mind of a basic human function. Of course, that's gonna be all you're fucking thinking about. For fuck's sake, I'm alone. I know.
Sex is every animal's most basic instinct, to the point that many animals will choose sex over survival.
It's kind of like Dave's a fucking idiot.
Kind of.
Time I fly, I always take the time to speak to the pilots. And half the pilots I've spoken to have seen the curvature. Half the pilots haven't seen the curvature. According to mainstream science, nobody can see the curvature from a passenger jet.
Was that?
Actually,
What?
according to mainstream science, it is possible, but it's very slight, and you need to be a pilot. You need the right atmospheric conditions.
Well, I thought you just need to be, up at a high enough altitude to see it. I didn't think it was anything special that, any passengers should be able to see it from a high enough altitude without clouds.
I think you really need to be at the very highest, and then
Yeah.
you'll only see it slightly.
And
Very
like
highest passenger jet.
for a passenger jet, the thing with a passenger jet is the windows are also very small, so you got quite a small field of view. So
That's
that
true.
will-
You don't
because
see
of
enough
that,
of the
you
arc.
also need to be even higher to see it noticeably. And like the pilot has like I would guess slightly more than 180 degrees view.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to see it much sooner.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
that
it's
in
going
a
to be
commercial jet-
so.
Yeah.
It's going to be so very slight. To give you an idea, is anyone? I guess very few people would be familiar with precision parallels, but there's more curve to a high grade machinist parallels than there is to the Earth.
I've looked at flight paths of things between South Africa and South America, or Australia, and it's more so going over Antarctica. Which on a globe,
Antarctica.
well, they do. There are transatlantic flights.
Oh.
Not many, but it depends on the range of the
None.
aircraft.
And really, we've been trying to find, there's none. Nothing is allowed to fly over the South Pole.
Actually, yeah.
And
There's
you
a
realize-
special C-130 that actually uses rockets to take off. The altitude at the South Pole, the geographical South Pole, where they have an Antarctic observation station, is about 14,000 feet.
Hmm.
They need rockets. And again, I should have prepared better because I know that I have a render of that. I know that I have video of that I turned into a render, but I didn't prepare enough.
Oh,
Yep,
one
Dave
bit
does
about-
drink the piss.
Yep.
one bit about the Antarctic Treaty that you skipped over was that you do need a permit to go there, because if it comes to you needing rescue, your home country will be billed for the cost of the rescue.
Yep.
So
But
that's
it's
why you
not
need a permit
impossible
from
for
your home
them to go there.
country to go there.
He has looked into it. Yeah, Al. He has looked into it as far as shoving his head up his ass. That's how far he's looked into it. And I think the Antarctic Treaty is less than 10 pages long. And it's not particularly dense. It's more like a PowerPoint read. And about
not as
10
dense
pages.
not as
Yeah.
dense as Dave.
Most of it's like you say, just to make sure that nobody can put military weapons there.
Yeah.
And you're not
I
allowed
believe
to
no
mine or leave your trash.
Yeah, that's the main thing, I believe.
Okay, so that comes down to ETOPS ratings in terms of how far an aircraft can go from an airfield. such as the longest one is 330 minutes. That's the A350 or something, which pretty much puts a hole over the Antarctica because it's so far away from every other airfield.
Mhm.
They can't go over that because if they have a problem, it's too far away for somewhere to land. When it comes back down to the ratings, but they can go often very near it.
Well, they say that, well, you know, it's too far to land in an emergency.
Ooh, now he's going to bring out the flat Earth map, I guess.
Too far to land in an emergency. He doesn't understand what the hell safety is.
The moon landing is absolutely fake. The supposed lunar landing.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That is a funny animation, dude. That is funny.
That's yeah, there's got to be something wrong with him. Let's break this down right. How hard would it be? You know, you're already having to launch a roughly 300-foot rocket into low Earth orbit. And then you're having to, because the Soviets can track it, you're having to put it on a trajectory to the moon. Wouldn't it be at that point almost easier to go there than to basically fake that?
Probably because, like, yeah, as you said, like they could track it.
Well, the
So-
biggest thing with the moon landing is for it to have been faked. All the major governments of the world would have had to agree to this, which
Yep.
means that through the entire Cold War, Russia or China could have used it as a point to embarrass the US.
Most definitely.
That's kind of the biggest proof that we went.
Yeah, because
that is the biggest proof. Yeah.
for it to have all been faked, it requires Russia to say that they lost. That we got there before them.
Yep. And I do not.
Russia
expect them to do that.
Russia won't even admit that they lost now when it's obvious to everyone.
Yeah.
Why would they admit that they lost if they had proof that they didn't?
Yeah, if there was any proof that the moon landing was faked, you can bet the Soviets would have put it on TV in the 50s or at the end of the 60s and 70s.
And it's one good thing is that it's really accurate because there's no blast crater underneath the lander where there's a massive rocket engine, and there's no dust in the pads there. So, you know, very accurate indeed.
That's a freaking model in a museum. That's not the actual thing.
And also, there's no atmosphere for the dust to linger. You're shooting the dust and everything away from the craft at the speed of sound. So you wouldn't even get dust on the pads anyway. That's what we find in the pictures. It just blows everything away.
Yeah.
And if you take the surface area of the rocket cones and the pressure coming out of it, there you were actually exerting less force per square inch from those engines than you would be a 250-pound man stepping on the surface of the Earth. Per square inch. There was a lot of square inches. And the moon has less gravity.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that everything on the moon only weighs 1/6 as much.
That
Means you need a lot less force to stay up.
But to think that this contraption made it to 238,000 miles away and landed on the moon is just ridiculous. And somebody
That contraption doesn't need to do anything but exist in the vacuum of space until it gets there.
tell me how a zip holds back the vacuum of space. I don't know. How can you have zips in a spacesuit?
Because inside there's another rubberized suit that forms the secure lining. This is just protective.
Yeah.
Then you got another rubber one on the inside that's perfectly sealed.
How does rubber actually protect against radiation?
It really doesn't, but unless you're having the kind of radiation that's going to kill you outright, there's no amount of shielding that could protect the astronauts from a coronal mass ejection. But it's just like a hospital x-ray. If you stay in a CAT scan or a hospital x-ray long enough, you will get sick. But it takes a long time, and we're really talking PET scans and CAT scan level radiation for a good week on end.
Yeah, well, and that's part of why they say, why we couldn't go back to the moon now is in order to get there in such a hurry, they took a lot of risks that they're not willing to take with the pilots today.
And also, the electronics that we use today is much more sensitive to the radiation that they will be passing.
Yeah, the computers could really be screwed up by the radiation.
Computers these days are not as robust as they were back then, because they were physically woven. The program were woven into
hardwired
magics,
literally.
Hardwired.
They had wires, and they weaved the wires through magnets.
And
so they used induction to basically cause a certain sequence of waveforms.
Yep.
And the transistors are much smaller. And in fact, I remember watching something about this on the NASA channel. And you see those, if you ever see those laptops in the ISS streams, the consumer grade laptops do malfunction. There's no life support critical function on the ISS that they allow consumer grade electronics to control.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that it at least has to be up, it's got to be higher than military standards, just because, if somebody up there gets in trouble, there really isn't a way to send up a rescue ship.
No, and that's why there's always enough ships there for everybody to get off. And
they have a Soyuz capsule.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but there's always enough space for everybody on the station to get off. Everyone. Because, if there would be a critical fault, how are you going to deal with that? You're not going to be saying we leave those Russians up there. Let them die, And just it's the other way around. You're not going to be doing that.
It is something you have to give the Russian engineers credit for. That the Soyuz capsules that they built to compete with the Apollo program have been the primary taxi service to the ISS for the last 20 years.
Yeah, but that's also you said, why didn't we go to, why are we not going to the moon at this moment? Because we don't want to take the risk anymore. We don't want to risk human lives. There is a slight difference, I think, with Russia.
They don't care about human life.
No,
Yeah.
like as long as they get someone up there, they don't care who. If 5 people die in the process, fuck them, you know. So yeah,
Well, as long as they can keep it quiet so that the news agencies in other countries don't know about it.
This outer suit does it. The inner
Oh,
suit,
really?
The inner
This
suit.
fabric suit.
Yeah, no, but this is a suit behind a suit behind a suit. There's multiple layers. Each one has a different job. This one is for cooling.
Do you know how much shielding you need for radiation outside the Earth's atmosphere?
Oh, I don't know what it is, but
But it's it's like lead. You need lead shielding. Pretty much.
You actually need plastic. I think they use polyurethane because a lot of the particles that will cause the most damage are basically hydrogen atoms and hydrogen and helium nuclei being flung off the sun, and
okay.
having something that is roughly the mass of the particles that are going to cause the most damage. Actually, that's a good insulator.
Well, that's
That's
actually why
why
Mylar was developed. Because the
And-
reflective Mylar films are lighter and do not rip as easily as aluminum foil would have.
and Mylar is lighter. I think like less than 1% of the
Yeah, but
energy.
it provided a reflective coating that would reflect most of the radiation back out without adding as much weight as if they'd used anything metal.
Interesting.
Everything you see around you is not what it appears to be. It's just a story you were given, and if you believe it, well, you can live your whole life believing that story. But there's other things going on. But if you don't know about them, then you'll end up reacting to things that happen in this world. Think for yourselves, you know, rather than accept all this stuff that you've been taught. Think for yourselves.
And there we go. The end.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Oops, sorry.
I wound up not throwing this together early enough. I should have found the videos of him drinking his own Waz, and I should have found the references to all that stuff that I talked about. I need to put more prep work into this.
Okay, he actually did a video that he was drinking his own stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a big advocate of that
What?
dumb shit.
The urine therapy.
Yep.
There's very few things that Dave won't try. He even tried being a breatharian, but he said it made him sick. He didn't feel good. And frankly, that was too stupid even for him.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have anything they want to shill? And please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to put a lot more work into the prep work for the next one. I should have had those animations available.
You put so much into your channel already.
Well, this is the second live stream I've done.
Well, I do my live chats every Wednesday afternoon at 2 Central Time. And you know, you can go over there and you can see what you get for somebody who does absolutely no preparation. My whole channel is an experiment in how far I can get on YouTube without actually putting in any effort.
Okay.
So far, you're about 2.25 times the number of subs I have.
Yeah, but I've also been doing it for 5.5 years, and I can't get up past 570 subscribers.
Hmm.
Every time I get up to
Um,
about 565, 567, and then for some reason I lose 10 of them, and I have to build back up to it again. Oh well.
next week, I actually have Stephen Greer's stuff. I've almost got his 3-hour long bullshit seminar that the National Press Club cut into mockable bite-sized pieces. And I don't know. I think that was actually going to be more serious because there's a more sinister aspect to what Stephen Greer is doing. He's basically talking about the deep state and all that stuff, trying to undermine the America's faith and its intelligence community. He's just making up bullshit. But I think we'll have more fun with aliens. All right, everybody. It's been an hour, and well, I gotta basically drive all the way to Buffalo tonight. So that's about almost 5 hours. So I'm gonna have to get going. Everyone, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Thank you,
And check out-
Brainless. Thank you, Purple.
And check
Yeah,
out
make-
Slim Streams.
Make sure you get yourself enough sleep, Commander.
Yeah, make sure you do that. That
I
is much
basically
more-
slept all afternoon. I woke up at 6.
Okay. I just know what it's like doing long drives if you haven't slept enough.
It's dangerous. So
Yeah.
thank you. And good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
all.
night.